welcome back to Silverstone, and in today's video we're going to be taking part in the Birkett Relay, one of the longest running endurance races in the UK ran by 750 Motor Club. I'll be racing with the team of Mazda 2s named Team Takona 2 Racing UK as we aim to try and take success in the handicap part of the 6-hour race. In this 6-hour race there's actually 2 races going on at the same time, the scratch race being the overall race winner and the handicap race where the team who can perform best with their given handicap will take victory, which of course, given that the Radicals will be aiming for the overall win, I think we'll be aiming for the handicap victory. Our top tier team consists of Neil, owner and manager of 2 Racing UK, Nick, the Yoda of the team and the master of getting his Mazda 2 sideways, Matt, a super talented driver who usually races a BMW Compact, along with his dad Phil, who will be managing the team for this race. We've also got Rocket Joe ready to go above and beyond, and of course myself, who will be driving Nick's Mazda 2 for the very first time. 6 hours is a long time to race, and anything can happen over that period, so sit back and watch to see if 3 little Mazda 2s can pull off an upset and take home some silverware in one of the biggest races on the UK calendar. Hello YouTube, and welcome back to another video where you join us on our journey up to Silverstone to take part in the Birkett 6-hour relay race. Now, technically we've got a race tomorrow from when I'm doing this. Tomorrow is going to be a very hectic day, so I'm trying to get all the filming and the intro done now. But yeah, we're on our way to the Birkett Relay. It's a 6-hour endurance race, and we're in a team of 6 drivers with 3 cars. So we're driving the Mazda 2s, basically all the Mazda 2s that have been out racing this year will be racing in the same team. So yeah, it's going to be a fun one. Now obviously I've never driven the MRF Mazda 2 before, so it's going to be it's a strange thing that this year I've raced, shall I say, all 3 of the racing Mazda 2s. So yeah, it's going to be so I've never driven it, so it's going to be a lot getting used to it. But with tomorrow, it's going to be a lot about managing the times that we do around each lap. So yeah, so it's not going to be about complete outright pace. So we'll see how it goes. So the Birkett Relay race, it's a very strange thing. I'll leave the rule video here or in the description if you want to actually go see it for yourselves, because it is very complicated. Yeah, it's a lot more complicated for me to explain it right now. Yeah, like I say, we're on our way to Silverstone now. It's going to be a very hectic day tomorrow, so I don't know how much film I'm going to be doing, so I'm just doing the intro now. So yeah, we're going to go there to Silverstone now, get scrutineered, just check out the team, have a team meeting, etc, etc, before the big race tomorrow. Now, if I don't pick up the camera before we get in the car for qualifying, then I'll see you in the car, but if not, I'll see you elsewhere. And the night before the race, I was just getting the cars ready, getting them all scrutineered and getting the radio cons in each of the cars, as we will be having radios on during the race, which is pretty much essential for the Birkett Relay. And just like that, it is Saturday morning, the day of the race. So we're just getting the last minute preparations done on each of the cars, ready to go out for qualifying. So just before qualifying, we get a quick word from the manager Phil just to tell us exactly what we need to do, as qualifying works a little bit differently in the Birkett than it does with a normal race day. But as you can see then, we're all strapped in and we're all ready to get out, ready for qualifying. So here we go then, let loose on track for the first time today for our qualifying session, a 20-minute session just to get our 3 laps in. Like I say, qualifying is a little bit differently for the Birkett Relay. A normal qualifying session would determine your grip position for the race, but for the Birkett Relay, our grip positions have already been determined based off our handicap time, so we're already starting at the back of the field. The whole reason for this session is to get our 3 laps in. If you're not too sure on a club racing weekend, you have to get 3 laps in to basically show that you know where you're going around the track, just to show that you're not slow enough to be a burden for the other cars that are also going to be out on track with you. So that's all this session is. As you can see out, it is very wet, it's very greasy. It had rained the night before. Now luckily during our racing it isn't going to be greasy. It is a little bit, but it's very much dried up at that point. So this is going to be basically just seeing how we can manoeuvre Nick's car in the wet. and as you're about to see, it's very slippy. The rear end loves to come out, and we're having to correct it quite a bit. But luckily, like I say, this qualifying session isn't going to determine our grid positions. It's just to get our 3 laps in. So let's just quick to the highlights then of this qualifying session. Let's see me trying to correct a loss of oversteer coming from that rear. And after trying to keep that rear end in check, our 20-minute qualifying session comes to an end as we come into the pit and into the garage. I didn't get a great lap time. I believe I got just over 3 minutes, and our handicap time was 2 minutes 54 for myself. So quite a bit off pace. But like I say, like you saw, the track was pretty greasy, so obviously I don't think I was going to get anywhere near that time anyway. And there was no point of pushing it that hard in qualifying, especially when it didn't really count for anything. But we come into the pits then, and I was actually the last person of our team to go out and qualify. So all 5 of us have qualified for the big 6-hour race. And of course, after the qualifying, there's the big 6-hour race.
And there you can see, with the cars pulling off the grid, the race is underway. The 6 hours starting to count down already here at Silverstone. The cars start, as is now traditional, behind the safety car. The race underway, and let's say a very good morning to Marcus Pye.
And as the race officially begins, it's a good time to show you the variety of cars that are racing in this race. You've got everything from the Radicals at the front, you've got Caterhams, you've got Clios, Civics, Porsches, pretty much anything that isn't an open wheeler can race in this race, and everything it pretty much is racing. As we'll see later on, there are even NASCAR cars out on the track. So the order for our team going out then is going to be like this. We've got Neil going out first, followed by Nick, followed by Matt, followed by Rocket Joe, and then me going out last. So there were only going to be 4 stops in the race for us. That's if nothing goes wrong, of course. So let's catch up with Neil then, and let's just see how he's getting on.
And there's one of the Mazda 2s. There's a whole team of these, Team 18, Team Takona, and that is a team that is going to be towards the back. Just looking to see where it is. It is right at the back, and it's Neil Shaw there in the Team Takona 2 Racing UK entered car, up against, if you like, the 750 Motor Club's own Swift Sport Challenge cars today, to see how that is progressing. An early problem for Team Takona 2 Racing UK with the hatchback having popped open.
It's not an air brake feature of these cars that...
And unfortunately, 10 minutes into the race, we suffer from our first problem as the A-car's boot has come right open. And unfortunately, that's going to force us to have to make an extra pit stop for this race. So Neil's going to have to make a short stop then, and he's going to have to go later on into the race. So he'll be finishing off the race then. But because this is happening, we're having to get sorted out in the pits for Nick to go out for his first stint an hour before he should have even been out. And with 5 hours 45 minutes of the race to go, we have made our first stop. Nick goes out with it still being wet and greasy out there. But let's see how he gets on in the MRF Mazda 2. And with Nick trying to keep that Mazda 2 under control, the team back at the pits are working to get the gas struts off the boot of the A car to hopefully make sure that that problem doesn't happen again, as that's one problem that we've already had and we really can't afford to have another problem like that and have another pit stop. And obviously with some of the slowest cars then out on the grid, there wasn't much battling actually happening. We're just concentrating on our handicap times, and with the track getting drier and drier throughout Nick's stint, luckily that time was coming down and down and down. Nick actually managing then to get to the 2:54 handicap time that we required towards the end of his stint, and was comfortably putting in them times. So we're trying to do as much damage control as we can as Matt then gets ready to go in the Rocket Dog car for the third stint for the team. And as Nick's stint went on and on and on, luckily our handicap position actually went up and up and up. So Nick doing a terrific stint throughout his hour. And right towards the end of Nick's stint, he's going to catch up to one of the Swift Sport Challenge cars. And obviously you would have heard the commentators at the start saying that it's going to be the Mazda 2s facing off against the Swift Sport. So, you know, we want to get one above the Swift Sport. So as Nick comes down the Wellington straight, he's going to look down the inside of the Swift and he's going to get the overtake done. He's going to have a look, he's going to out-drag it. So that is indeed one up on the Mazda 2s against the Swifts. And as the safety car comes out the next lap, it's the perfect time to get Nick in, to swap him over for Matt to get the second stint done and dusted. And as the third car's gone out, we're going to tell Nick that he's done such a great job with such spicy conditions out on the track. I'll just have a quick chat with him then, just to see if we can pick up any tips on how to drive the car, as his Mazda 2 is set up a little differently to the other two Mazda cars I've been racing that season. And well, when Matt's done his stint and Joe's gone out, we actually find ourselves then at third up in the handicap race, so we're actually already in podium positions. And as Matt's come in and Joe's gone out, it is now my turn to wait in the car, get ready, because it's a little bit different in the Birkett. Obviously if there's any problems on track, we want the next car out as soon as possible. So before your stint, you're basically waiting an hour before you actually go out. But luckily I found a slight solution to that, is by watching the live stream in the car. And luckily it managed to get me out of the interview, which Neil really wanted me to do with the one with camera experience. So let's see how Neil got on with the interview.
We're going to head down to the pit lane now. Lewis Beals has got another driver to talk to. We'll hear from him in the pit lane.
Thanks very much, Ian. In fact, I've got two drivers from the Two Racing UK team, which are currently running second to the RAF Motorsport boys in the handicap section, which is extremely good. Just come off track is Matthew Adcock. Matthew, what conditions like at the moment on track?
I only got a couple laps under the safety car restart before coming in, but it was greasy, I think is probably the best word for it. So I think a lot of the guys who are out on slicks have probably gotten caught out a little bit. But fortunately for us, just running on, you know, those treaded tyres, it wasn't too much of a switch.
Okay, let's have a talk with Neil Shaw. Neil, you were telling me about some interesting things about the team. Can you brief us about that?
Of course. So the team exists purely to try and get more people into racing. We're trying to bring grassroots through, give pathways into basically this type of event. So it's looking at bringing people from go-karting, giving them an option that when they can't afford to step into, say, a Ginetta, it's just another route that they can get into proper car circuit racing. The cars that we use, we're trying to use the Mazda 2, so it's a Fiesta derivative. Very light, very agile. It doesn't quite go like a Fiesta, but it handles like one, which is what we need. So it gives people the confidence to start throwing a car about, rather than being stuck in the middle of a pack somewhere and basically battling flat out. So
you must be doing something right, lads, because you know, second on handicap, 70 teams, that's not a bad thing.
And before I knew it, Joe was about to come in. It's my turn to take on the Birkett Relay and try and keep that second place in the handicap race that we've somehow managed to get after the couple of troubles that we had at the start of the race. And like with Nick's stint, Mine was pretty much the same, trying to control the time for the handicap part of the race, as like you heard, we are currently in second and I'd like to keep that. So it's pretty much managing the traffic, the faster cars. Obviously some of them are going to completely dive bomb you into corners, but it's trying not to let most of them through and try and cost us too much time. Obviously blue flags are a little bit different in club racing. It's not an instruction, it's a warning that there are faster cars behind you, so you've got to keep to the racing line. But like I say, some of them will dive bomb you, so it's just having to manage to keep that time going. But obviously it wasn't the most boring of stints, so let's get to a few highlights. Okay, from a content point of view, it probably wasn't the most exciting of stints, but for me, being out there on the Silverstone GP track while trying to manage all the traffic while trying to keep my time down to a 2:54 was incredible, and it really did make the 60 minutes I was out there absolutely fly by. But for the first 20 minutes, it was a little bit slow. I couldn't quite get the time down. It was slowly coming down to that 2:54. But after that 20 minutes, every single lap was a 2:54 bang on, which is exactly what we wanted for the Birkett to try and get us up to the overall winning position in the handicap race. But for now, before coming to the pits, we do come back in second position still. So we're still looking very good for a trophy and still looking pretty good for that first overall in the handicap. So after the 60 minutes then, we come home into the pits to swap over to Neil, who obviously is now finishing the race after the little boot problem that we had at the start, who's now going to finish the race for us in the quickest of the Mazda 2s. So hopefully then Neil, without spinning, without any problems, can bring it home to give us a trophy finish. Alright guys, there's my stint done. Yeah, flew by to be fair, 6-7 minutes in the car. Yeah, went well. Still going for a bit of speed to begin with, but then got the consistent laps in. Went a bit too quick on a few laps, so had to slow it down a little bit. But yeah, apart from being a bit quicker at the start, there wasn't much more I could do. There's definitely more time to find in the car, but with all the traffic in there, you're not really going to find it. But yeah, just wait, see about another hour of the race left, so we'll see if we can bring it home in whatever position we can. And as we watched the end of the race, Neil did a fantastic job out on track. Unfortunately, we didn't quite get that second place overall in the handicap race. However, we did finish second place in Class A for the handicap race. So that does actually qualify us for a trophy. So that was a great way to end the season off with a trophy. And for the first time that the team had done the Birkett, and for most of us on the team our first Birketts, we finish off with a trophy. Obviously, we couldn't have asked for anything more. It was such a good race, it was such a fantastic day, and another great thing about the Birkett as well, it actually ends on the tradition of clapping all the cars in at the end of the race. So let's get to that, let's get to the ceremony at the end of the day, and let's go and collect our trophies.
But second in class.
Second in class for now.
Eh,
Good race. It's definitely a lot more. It felt like a lot like the 300 race. You know, like that. You would have seen that 300 race by now. It feels a lot like that we did before. There's a sense of team achievement. Yeah, everyone played the part as it did. Shame about the start, which probably cost us first in class, maybe, but everyone else did what we can. Just going to say,
First car in the pit lane with Sean, nobody noticed the boot that went up. That went to Two Racing UK, Neil Shaw, Nick Fugel, Lewis Warren, Joe Jacobs, Robbie Booth and Matthew Alcott.
Right guys, after a hectic day, that's the first proper endurance race that we've done in car racing, and as you can probably see, yeah, we managed to get a nice second place in class. So 8th overall in handicap and second in class from the handicap. Again, like I said in the start of this video, I don't know how this video is going to turn out. Like I said in the intro, it's all hectic, so the video is going to be a bit everywhere at the minute. But yeah, that was a cracking way, to be fair, to end the racing season, the car racing season. Then Neil spinning out in the first lap and his boot coming open, forcing us to do a extra pit stop than we wanted, because we could have done that in 5 stops, unfortunately we have to do 6. Yeah, Nick drove a great drive, then Matthew drove a brilliant drive as well in the Rocket Dog car, really quick in that car. And yeah, Joe did a brilliant drive, had to slow down. Pretty sure we got a couple laps penalties for that to be added on to the handicap. I drove a brilliant drive, exactly what I needed to do, getting the 254s that I needed. That was my handicap time. Got quicker on a few laps. Just a shame I couldn't get it going to begin with, but yeah, the last 40 minutes pretty consistent. I'll say everyone did a great job with it, being consistent. And then Neil finishes it off to get 2nd place. We were dead close to 3rd, and 3rd place didn't get trophies, so it's luckily we did finish in 2nd, so we had to get something from it. But yeah, that's, like I said, that's the end of the car racing season. I know you've probably seen this video wise in 2025, so God knows what's going to be happening in 2025. Yeah, I don't know what's going to be happening yet. We'll see. I hope car racing ain't going to stop. We'll see what happens. Yeah, thank you so much for watching YouTube. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next video.